Okay, there is a new race for 2020, not in the way that you're thinking. 50 years after the moon landing, the next race is the space race focusing on Mars.
For over 2 decades, Wes Roberts lived a normal life teaching technology at an Ontario college. But he always felt something was off.
I had an experience which I felt was not a dream. It was unusual.
The truth, as they say in the UFO world, is out there. But maybe it was in him.
Being observed and tested.
He was introduced to Leslie Mitchell Clark, a hypnotherapist who specializes in experiencers, which is the new term for alien abductee.
So what I believe that I did in his case is initially I regressed him to the first point in his life where there was an incident of high strangeness.
He describes the incident as being frozen in time, awake, watching 5 minutes on his clock go by in 5 seconds.
I was just watching it bang, 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 bang.
For Roberts, it was an awakening of sorts. He's now convinced he'd been contacted by aliens.
There's some kind of beings that are interfering with my life. They come when they want to. I cannot reach them when I want to.
10 years after it landed on the planet. And just this week, NASA's Mars 2020 rover passed its first driving test and earned its driver's license to Mars. And this time around, it's designed to make better independent driving decisions, is equipped with a high-resolution, wider color camera, an extra computer brain for processing images and making maps, and also a sophisticated auto navigation software. China's space agency is also planning to land on the Red Planet in 2021 after an expected launch in 2020, and after a failed attempt to land in Mars by the European Space Agency in 2016, the Europeans joined Russia's space agency and created the ExoMars.
When Oumuamua was discovered last October, it was tumbling past the sun at 196,000 miles per hour. To some, the reddish object looked like a cigar. Others thought it was shaped like a pancake.
It looks very different from objects that we have found in the solar system.
Avi Loeb, chair of the Harvard University Astronomy Department, said Oumuamua did not behave like an ordinary asteroid or give off gas like a comet.
There seemed to be an extra force that is pushing it, and it's not clear what this push is from.
In an upcoming paper, he and a colleague offer what they call a more exotic scenario. Oumuamua may be a fully operational probe sent intentionally to Earth vicinity by an alien civilization. According to their calculations, Oumuamua is less than 1 millimeter thin, but very wide like a sail, harnessing solar radiation to propel itself, similar to the spacecraft used by Count Dooku in the Star Wars films.
Is alien civilization on the list of explanations?
I don't know, real low. Real low.
Faraday doubts Oumuamua's appearance means we're on the verge of an alien encounter, like the one in the movie Arrival.
Oumuamua, as it stands, is a phenomenal discovery and a really important object for astronomers to study and for the public to get excited.
Scratching their heads. A mysterious silver shiny object, or objects it seems, floating in the sky yesterday. You could see all the people that stopped on the street there in their tracks looking at it. Some folks say they saw lights. Others were maybe waiting for little green men to arrive.
I don't know.
You don't want to say
I'm looking for the mothership.
Law enforcement officials believe it was some kind of balloon. So far, though, no confirmation. And as they said on the X-Files, the truth is out there.
I have determined that it is time to officially recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. While previous presidents have made this a major campaign promise, they failed to deliver. Today, I am delivering. I've judged this course of action to be in the best interests of the United States of America and the pursuit of peace between Israel and the Palestinians.
This is where a U.S. military strike took out Qasem Soleimani, the leader of Iran's elite Quds force. Soleimani oversaw the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps' foreign military operations, supporting U.S.-designated terror groups in Lebanon, propping up the Assad regime in Syria, and spreading Iranian military influence in Iraq.
The world reacted with alarm on Friday after top Iranian commander Qasem Soleimani was killed in a US strike in Iraq, with several leaders appealing for restraint. The Russian Foreign Ministry said the killing of Soleimani was an adventurous step that will increase tensions throughout the region. US House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi said Soleimani's murder risks provoking a dangerous escalation of violence, while Trump's rival Joe Biden accused the US president of tossing a stick of dynamite into a tinderbox. China, a permanent member of the UN Security Council, a key partner of Iran and major buyer of the country's oil, said Beijing has always opposed the use of force in international relations. China called on both sides to remain calm and exercise restraint. France's Europe minister said the world just got more dangerous, and the French president urged for stability and de-escalation.
What we've heard so far from this president are tweets, threats, and tantrums. All we've heard from this administration are shifting explanations, evasive answers, repeated assertions of an imminent threat without the necessary evidence to support that conclusion.
That was presidential candidate Joe Biden giving a 20-minute speech on foreign policy in New York City on Tuesday. The former vice president criticized the Trump administration's move to strike Iranian General Qasem Soleimani.
This morning, we could be on the brink of a new kind of major conflict in the Middle East. We'll likely see Iran ramping up its nuclear enrichment in the coming days, putting an extremely dangerous problem that our administration had solved and put on the back burner back on the table. I hope the administration, I pray the administration has thought through the second and third order consequences of what they have chosen. Let's be clear. General Soleimani was the architect of behind the slaughter of countless lives in the region. The deaths of U.S. troops are on his hands, and no American mourns his passing. He deserves to be brought to justice. He deserved to be brought to justice for his crimes. But no matter how rightly reviled he was in the West, he was a senior figure of the Iranian government. And there's no doubt that Iran will in fact respond.
Russia has introduced a new missile system that could be impossible to defend against. The first regiment of avant-garde hypersonic missiles are now in service, and according to President Vladimir Putin, they can travel more than 20 times the speed of sound.
U.S. defense officials say this is the real deal. Russia test firing its new high-speed hypersonic missile, a missile that the U.S. military currently cannot defend against. Russian President Vladimir Putin pulling no punches on his intent.
The new avant-garde missile system is invincible against today's and future air and missile defense systems of the potential enemy. This is a big success and a great achievement.
If the weapons work as advertised, there is no current defense against them.
The Russian missile has captured the attention of Patrick Shanahan, the Deputy Defense Secretary, who will take over as acting Pentagon Chief when Secretary James Mattis leaves next week. Shanahan warns the U.S. needs to be able to detect the fast-flying missile much further away than current radar systems can handle. The U.S. has to detect it thousands, not hundreds of miles away because of its high-speed approach. The Pentagon may spend more than $1 billion trying to develop and field its own capabilities.
We have a number of options going on with hypersonic missiles.
The Russians are making significant yet unproven claims about their missiles, saying it's capable of carrying a nuclear warhead. It flies up to 20 times faster than the speed of sound. It can adjust altitude and direction to avoid detection. Putin says it's invincible.
We're going to need a different set of sensors in order to see the hypersonic threats. Our adversaries know that.
The challenges are also political for President Trump, whose relationship with Russian President Putin has been rocky since July's Helsinki summit.
Putin feels incredibly emboldened. Putin believes this is the time to press his advantage. He's put his forces in Ukraine, in eastern Ukraine. He's, of course, taken over Crimea. He's now gaining ground in Syria. This is Russia's time, in his view.